Today is today's Sunday, September 8th, 6:26 a.m. In the uh in the in the James Bond movies, the main character, which is James Bond, and whenever he goes into a a situation where the bartender asks him what he wants, he replies, uh, "Shaken but not stirred." and and it suddenly occurred to me. It certainly suddenly occurred to me the uh, my recent uh, my recent involvement with attempting to find a place to room has taken a unforeseen direction. I felt slighted, and so I had to now I have to live out of my car, and for multiple reasons. And so because of this uh, consequence, unforeseen development, uh, I have been shaken, but I'm not stirred because I sat here. I'm thinking, okay, now I'm like I've placed myself into a uh, an emotional situation and a uh, physical, essentially a physical uh, hardship right now. There's actually a couple of things going on, a physical and a mental hardship that I placed myself into due to the fact that I hadn't fully anticipated what this new room was going to be. And I had to take drastic measures in order to remove myself from becoming a victim and remaining as a victim. So I had to leave. And I thought about, okay, so how is that going to either instill or undermine my productivity as a day trader? What I have to do now is to really focus and keep myself emotionally in check, and make the best of the current situation, and 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 take care of this. Now, I briefly thought about the homeless shelter, and I thought to myself, well, the homeless shelter that I was in, during the time that I was there, I lost this eye right there. And I thought to myself, the reason that I lost this eye is because while I was sleeping on the lower bunk, a mentally unstable individual came by for the purpose of giving me a pink eye, sat on my face, smothering me with his with his behind. And this individual did that multiple times. And I can remember going to work with pink eye, and the owner is asking me, "Hey, are you okay?" He's asking me, and my eyes were just red because it's a known fact when a fecal matter enters into the eye, it turns red for a while. And so I believe, due to that complication, this eye, uh, I don't know how medically sound it is, but after that, while I was in the homeless shelter, this eye, uh, which looks perfectly okay, but somehow behind the scenes, the it has it actually became blinded, essentially. I can sporadically a pinhole kind of see things, but it has been it seems like the 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 nerves in certain areas are have been starved of oxygen, so that some of the nerves have been turned off. And so even though even though the homeless shelter is administrated by God, God accepts everybody, even a mentally unstable individuals who find it funny to sit on somebody's face for the purpose of, I think, unless they have some sort of uh, unless they have some homicidal kind of tendencies behind the scenes on a subconscious level. But it seems to me that the driving force to essentially make fun of another individual, but they don't realize the risk that is involved. One of the factors being homicidal and ultimately causing physical harm for the rest of my life, right? And so I'm avoiding I'm avoiding returning to a homeless shelter due to the fact that if they did this, they could do this. And when that happens, then it's truly game over. So so now I'm gonna make best of it and attempt to make this work. This has to work. This has to work uh, by by allowing me to. This has to work. Uh, that will allow me to make more in my side hustle as a day trader than the job as a dishwasher right now. It has to work, and I'm moving in that direction. I'm going for it. Uh, I'm 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 going for it without turning back. And I mentioned this numerous times. There's this movie called Gattaca, and this main character uh, had a race with a physically and mentally fit individual to see who could swim furthest. Now, the reason why he won is because he never left anything in reserve to return to the shore. And and they started to swim as far as they can, and then the physically fit individual with DNA that has been already registered into the records that label this individual as a upper class of physical specimen. But of course, he knew that if he went too far, there was no way to return, and so he stopped and he lost. And so the journey that I have been taking is in line with this Gattaca character, where he is physically deficient and mentally deficient, which I definitely am. As God as my witness, I know it. I would not be in this situation. I would not be I would not be in this situation if I was normal, definitely. And so it reminds me of it reminds me of this James Bond character, and he goes to the bar. He goes to the bar and he says, um, I can't remember what the drinks he's drinking, but he says he would like it shaken but not stirred, right? So so I thought to myself, well, is he just talking about the drink and apparently when you have alcohol spirits, um, you want it shaken but not stirred. And apparently, when you shake it, the alcohol apparently stays down, and the water remains on the top. Apparently, that's how it works. And so, when you take a sip, you're you're uh, you're physically less prone to the effects of strong alcohol in your body, and that's why uh, apparently that's how it is in a business of it being a spy. Apparently, shaken but not stirred. If you stir it, the alcohol mixes up and bubbles up to the top where you drink. I don't know how that works, but apparently that's how it's explained. But it seems to me Shaken but not stirred is a stock trading mentality that I need to be aware of, because the market is going to constantly shake, and whoever gets stirred will lose their money. It becomes a emotionally traumatizing situation where the mind switches, and when that mind switches, it is hard to remove myself from focusing on what I need to do right. And when I'm stirred, the things that I do, even though it seems reasonable, becomes a subconscious state of mind, and decisions that I make turns out to be incorrect. And so the idea is that the market will stir everybody, but the fact is not I need to be not shaken. I have to remain, because I remember whenever my account blows up, I would trade and trade and trade, and then I would get into a tilt situation, and then I get stirred, and I would lose it, and I would oversize, and then as soon as it gets into a drawdown, it's so significant. I'm just my jaw is down, and the jaw drops, and I'm looking at it, and it goes, "Oh my God!" And by that time, it's too late, because the mind has been stirred, and keeps going down. And then eventually I say, well, I can't bring that back. I'll just let it blow up, and that's it. And of course it does, and it's over with, because I've leveraged up, and any significant small amount of move can be such a traumatic stirring of the account, that the account just blows up. And so the idea is to, as I sit here, ponder what I'm going to do uh, from this day forward, is this. Of course, I've been shaken, but I will not be stirred. And I'm going to keep my consistent and routine things that I do on a daily basis to get to the end goal, which is to the initial goal is essentially to take this side hustle to um, this is actually now it's a pursuit. It is a lifetime pursuit. It is it is a goal. It is the fundamental driving force in my life to see to it to the end and figure this thing out. And the idea is, despite the fact that there's currently an emotional and physical uh, debilitation right now, I have to keep going. I have to keep going until until the end, which is essentially, it's the same thing. I'm currently shaken, but I need to keep myself from being stirred, so that I can keep my sanity, so that I can keep going despite the fact that I'm in this current situation. That's the path that I'm taking, and may God be so kind to help me move in that direction.